The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show. Good day, Bermuda. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jacky Lambert, and we are ready to bring you some feel good vibes this morning. Today, we are talking about all things health and wellness. We will be discussing our book of the month. So if you have a copy of They Called Him Ruse and you've already started to read part 1 with us, we will be discussing that. And we will also be sharing the latest addition to the fitness challenge. But first, as always, we're going to start off this episode with our Feel Good warm-up of the day, which is an audience shout-out from yesterday's episode. Michael Anthony Musson said that Jacky is a tennis player, so that's why she talks to herself all the time. So if you missed the episode yesterday, make sure you head over to our YouTube channel or we want to know, if you are joining us, did you know that the U.S. Congress has approved a bill to make Juneteenth, which is June 19th, a federal holiday? And we will talk about that in connection with our emancipation story. And we have Sean Smith, who is in here with us. Good morning to you, Sean. Welcome to the conversation. So let's talk about it, Jack. Did you know that the U.S. Congress was going to be passing a bill to make Juneteenth a national holiday, a federal holiday, excuse me?
Actually, I did. I have a friend that lives in New York, and I remember her telling me, like, you know, she was excited, but at the same time, she was just like, how is this just happening? But she's just like, we're officially going to be able to celebrate Juneteenth then. Because last year, her job actually gave it off to her, you know. They recognized it, not just like, you know, take the day. I think they actually gave her a long weekend or something like that.
Okay.
And so she was able to celebrate that way, but it wasn't official. And now it's about to be official. So she's excited. But of course, at the same time, she's just like, why did it take so long? But you know how the world works.
And around that conversation last year, because it was a lot going on around the whole Black Lives Matter movement and, you know, with the deaths that were happening and the names of the different people that were being shared, it was definitely like one of this, let's jump on. It felt like in some cases, let's jump on this movement and align our brand with it because it's popular right now.
But it looks good for our image.
It looks good for our image. But since then, I don't know in the audience if you have seen some of the same companies that did, you know, say we stand with Black people or we support this movement, if you've seen them continue that conversation. And I mean, it's a whole different presidency right now, right? So it's not Trump. It's a completely different president, completely different party. So I wonder if that plays a part into. So let us know in the comments your thoughts on the U.S. Congress passing that bill, because I think once the bill gets passed, I guess I don't know U.S. civics, studied American history, and I didn't really pay attention, but I don't know what's the next step. Like if you know anything about what's the next step after the bill gets passed, let us know in the comments, because we definitely want to talk about it in connection with Bermuda's emancipation celebration, because ours was actually August 1st, but ours was well before Juneteenth. So if you're not familiar with what Juneteenth is, it's the Freedom Day in the U.S. where all slaves in the U.S. were technically considered free. I think Texas was the last state to declare their slaves free, and that was in like 1865.
Yeah, they didn't.
1865.
But why would you tell your slaves that they're free? Like the whole point is to get free labor. So, like, I wouldn't. Yeah. Anyway, that's a different time.
And then even just talking, before we move on to the Bermuda context, like even talking about Juneteenth, like the Emancipation Proclamation was signed in 1862. But it was 3 years later that they actually were free.
Yeah.
So we have a few comments coming in. We have one here from Jamal. He says, morning, a federal holiday means nothing without reparations. Absolutely. And then he also says, I'd say look to see what ADOS and FBA think about a trinket holiday. Oh, ADOS, excuse me. I know, I can't remember what it stands for, but I am familiar with seeing that acronym. I'm not familiar with FBA. What's that one? Let us know in the comments, Jamal. And then switching to the Bermuda context, like we were free as of 1834. So August 1st, 1834, it's like the Caribbean had basically said, we're done with this. The British Empire definitely moved away from it. So let us know in the comments how you feel about the fact that in the Caribbean, we were like 30 years into freedom of our enslaved person, excuse me. And the US is just now giving their Freedom Day to the citizens. Let us know what you think of that in the comments, because it's really interesting in the age of social media, right, Jack? Because everything, it's like it starts on social media. If people make noise on social media loud enough, you see some type of change.
Oh, absolutely. You gotta, you're holding people accountable, you're calling them out, and it's a lot easier to put in more time because you're not actually physically going and harassing the people. You're able to just what do they call it on the internet?
A troll?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, what is it that we say? We say it all the time.
Trolling.
Yeah, trolling and canceling them and stuff like that. You get people to sign petitions, you share it enough, it gets back to them and it doesn't look good. And, the boards of the companies freak out and they make changes. They may not last, but they're making changes to save that pocket, that purse.
So we have a comment here from Jamal who explains ADOS and FBA. So ADOS stands for American Descendants of Slavery, and FBA is Foundational Black Americans. Thank you for that, because I had no idea about the second one. I definitely knew what the first one was. So we have a comment here from Sheldon Jones. Jack.
Next step for the holiday is for the president to sign it as a federal holiday.
Okay, so technically it's just the bill. So it could. Well, I do not see Joe Biden not signing it into making it a federal holiday. I really don't see that.
Like his best friend is Obama.
But even still,
not that it means anything, but still.
He even had the comment during his campaign where he's like, "You're not black if you don't vote for me." So it's kind of like
he better.
The Twitter folks will be like,
"Is this you?"
The thing was like, is this you? Where they repost the video where he says it and it's like, is this you? So I definitely feel like that would come if he didn't sign it. We have another comment here from Jamal. He says, as someone said on Twitter yesterday, white folks are going to do to this holiday what they've done with Cinco de Mayo.
Absolutely.
And let's talk about that, because in our context, we have how we celebrate the emancipation of slavery is Cup Match. And this year, in case you didn't know, if you're just watching, Cup Match is canceled once again. This time, though, after St. George's Cricket Club declined the challenger request from Somerset Cricket Club declined the challenger request from St. George's Cricket Club, which I actually made a note to find out, the story around the challenger letter, because maybe I'm just ignorant maybe I'm misinformed, or I just didn't know, uninformed, but I didn't know that the challenger sent a letter.
I didn't either. I thought it was just like, same time, same place, or different place next year. Like, cool. Like Christmas dinner. Like, see you guys next year. Whose house? Like, who's hosting it? And
let us know in the comments, what did you think of, the press release or the news story related to Somerset Cricket Club declining the challenge letter from St. George's Cricket Club? Did you know that about our Cup Match tradition? Because for me, I definitely know the story around the friendlies and how it evolved to, each having their own cricket club. But that challenger letter felt like a wrench in there. I was like, I had the meme where the guy has all the question marks around his head. I felt like that. I was like, wait, there's a challenger?
Mine's the girl where she's sitting there and it's all the algebra and stuff going on. Like, this isn't calculating right. How do I not know this? I sit down and I usually know a good bit about, the history of Bermuda, because that's Christmas dinner is based around that. We all sit at the table and our parents talk and they just tell us about tradition after tradition and the things. Some stuff is repetitive, but for the most part, I'm constantly learning. So to not know this, I'm not sure if my parents are upstairs watching, but shame on you guys.
If you're just joining us, let us know in the comments if you knew about the fact that the challenger, so the person that doesn't hold the cup, has to send a letter to the cup holder to request a challenge, a duel of cup match. Let us know in the comments. And the reason why we're talking about that is because we saw on Twitter yesterday that in the US, Congress has passed a bill to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. And as Sheldon mentioned to us, or he let us know, that the next step would be for the US president to go ahead and sign that into law. And we're tying it into our conversation around emancipation of slavery, because we've been celebrating cup match for centuries at this point. And just how, and we talked about this on the show previously between Jacky and I, because we both went to the same high school, and how we spent so much time learning about another country's history. And that even something as simple as a challenger letter, like it may seem trivial to people that probably already know that that's a thing, but for all we talk about the cup match holiday and how it's the best holiday on the island, and that's the one that if you want to invite people to, make sure they come to cup match. And for us to not know that feels like, dang, we missed the mark. Like, a little defeated. I was a little defeated. I was like, I mean, I guess this means St. George's won, but I was a little like,
how does St. George's win, Terri?
By default.
No.
Default. You're supposed to take the challenge. You're supposed to take us up on the challenge. And then also, what is your thoughts? Like, what are your responses to the challenger letter? So like, now that we have, whether you knew this before or you didn't know this before, that there's a challenge letter and the cup holder can decline it. How do you feel about it being declined? Like, do you feel like there is a good reason for them to decline? Like, what are your thoughts on the decline? Like, do you think we could still have cup match, even though we know it's not going to be the cup match of the past? Like, that cup match does not exist post-pandemic a year and a half later. Like, that's not going to happen. So like, do you think we could have still had cup match? Like, let us know in the comments. What about you, Jack? Do you think we could have still had something?
It's not going to be the same. I go back and forth because, I love cup match and I want it to happen. But when you think about the players having gone through the same stuff that we've gone through, they may not mentally be there, physically be there, or may not just want to do it. Mentally, they might just be like, yeah, I'm checked out. I don't feel like doing it this year. So the quality is going to be blah. And then on top of that, is everybody going to want to do, because it's going to have to be a safe key event, right? So you're going to have to get tested. You're going to have to do all of this stuff. On Emancipation Day, you just don't feel free when you're walking in and you have to show a piece of paper saying, I'm allowed to be here. Like, it just kind of contradicts the whole holiday. So I'm not really for it. Just let us do our little family functions and bounce around.
Yeah, we have a comment here from Sheldon Jones. He says, regardless of my team affiliation, okay, that must mean yes, I'm gonna say, I would decline an away game if my last home game was canceled. That's a fair point. I will give you that, because home court advantage, home pitch advantage is definitely probably better in any scenario, whether it's, and whatever sport it is. I could definitely see wanting it to come back to Somerset to kind of,
that's where it's supposed to be. No, but that's where it's supposed to be.
I honestly felt like I know that St. George's would have missed it. Like, we missed it last year. It would have been in St. George's last year. I still think this year should have been Somerset. Personally, even though I'm a St. George's fan, just because I don't want the history books to be all out of whack. Like, I just want it to continue to go, because it alternates, and we know that. It's very easy to tell people, oh yeah, it alternates every year. Now it's like, nah, it was supposed to be 2020 in St. George's, but because it didn't happen, we just carried it over. I don't like that.
I think that each team equally missing is fair, and that we can come out next year with a clean slate, and we don't have to worry about anybody saying, oh, you got to win because it was home advantage or anything like that. We both had 2 years off.
2 full years.
We both financially lost equally. Now we're gonna come back stronger, and it's going to help more weight when we win.
Yep, absolutely. So let us know in the comments if you're just joining. I do agree with Jacky on that point. We don't, the colors, we will not agree ever, but But if you're just joining us, we are talking about the fact that Cop Match is canceled once again this year, this time due to Somerset Cricket Club declining the challenger letter from St. George Cricket Club. Let us know how you feel about that in the comments. We're going to shift gears to talk about our feel-good topic of the day, which today is all around health and wellness, and it does tie in with the conversation around sports. So let us know in the comments any thoughts that you have as Jackie and I go through our topic of the day. So the first part of it is related to our book of the month. So I want to say it was the first Wednesday we had shared with y'all that we're going to be reading They Called Him Ruse, which is a book about Bermuda's national hero, Paulo Roosevelt Camarafego. I actually had to watch a webinar where they said his name multiple times. So I had to commit to memory how to say his last name because the first time I did it, I butchered it and I felt so bad. But I got it together now. So we wanted to talk about our book of the month because Jackie and I both have shared previously that reading is a great way to protect your mental health. It's a great way for you to kind of de-stress and disconnect if you need to, particularly from technology, because Jackie and I are coming through a computer screen right now to you all. We all have phones. Some of us work on computers for our day jobs. So we go from the cell phone to the computer, back to the cell phone, back to the computer, to the television. So we are wired. And so we definitely feel that reading gives you, a way to disconnect. So we want to know in the comments, let us know if you have your copy of the book. If you have your copy, where did you get it from? And let us know if you have read part 1. Jackie and I are going to quickly discuss, whether we have the book, which because we're the ones doing the book of the month, we did, but also if we've read the first part and what are some of our thoughts on the first part. So let us know in the comments if you have the book They Called Him Ruse. If you've never heard of it, let us know that in the comments as well, and we'll get you the information so that you can get a copy for yourself. And then Jackie and I are going to start off the conversation by sharing our thoughts on the first part.
Okay, so yes, I have my book.
Your book.
I know. So I finally got my book and I got it. If you guys are unsure of where to go, I did get it down at Long Story Short. She actually was able to deliver it to me in town. So I didn't have to go all the way east. I don't know if some people are like all the way east. It's a nice scenic drive. I just was on a bike and the weather was looking a little iffy. So I used that delivery service. But whoa, Roosevelt Brown, he stood his ground on everything. He was not a pushover. And then he stood up for other people. It made me want to go out and tell people, don't talk to me like that. You know who comes from my country? Don't test. But I was talking to a few people that have, that I was discussing the book with, and how I was telling them to be a part of the book club and stuff. And I didn't realize how many of my friends are his relatives. So I'm like, oh, that explains why you are the way you are, because it's passed on generation to generation. But just to know that he went from fighting injustice in Bermuda to being in the States and still standing up for everybody's rights and, don't talk to me like I don't want to give away a lot of the stuff, but, going up against the KKK, and that's terrifying. There are parts of the story where it's almost like you're watching a movie and you're like, don't look, but it's a book. So I'm sitting there in the book, what is happening? It was like a thriller. And to know that this is his real life story, it took a lot for me not to finish the book, you guys. I'm really trying to stick with not finishing the book and reading it with you, because I know I'm going to forget where I am and give a lot of stuff away. But he is strong. He went through a lot. He is strong.
Absolutely. So if you're just joining us today, we are discussing our book of the month, which They Called Him Ruse. It is by, I believe his previous name is Colwyn Burchell, but he goes by Ajala now. And it's a book about our national hero, Paulo Roosevelt Brown Camarafego. And so this is National Heroes Month. Jackie and I have dubbed the whole month National Heroes Month, even though technically we only celebrate National Heroes Day on the former holiday, the Queen's birthday. So this upcoming Monday will be National Heroes Monday. So if you have the book, we encourage you to, if you haven't started to read part 1, if you're ready to read part 2, that you do so at least on National Heroes Day. Honor Paulu in that way. And I saw a tweet on Twitter, I want to say it was yesterday was put up, or maybe it was probably yesterday morning or afternoon, saying like, how we don't do enough to like celebrate and honor our national heroes. And I felt like that it really hit me, because I was like, out of the, 7 or 8 national heroes that we have,
I think it's 8.
We like very few of them do we talk about all year round. And it kind of comes back to that whole Black History Month conversation, where we got Black people got the shortest month in the calendar. And then after Black History Month, no one talks about it. So let us know in the comments if you think we should do more to celebrate our national heroes. And if we should, what should we do? I know Jacky and I are doing what we think is going to be a good way for us to do, which is read about his life and legacy, because I don't remember learning about him in school. Jack, did you remember them bringing him up?
No. And if they did, they obviously didn't do it long enough for it to actually stay with me. But like, he is somebody that we should be learning about. And I'm talking about over something that's only the first 21 pages. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at, our government and what they're doing, and looking at his story. And I'm sitting, it just blows my mind that they came from him. Not him particularly, but
I get what you mean.
They're following him, and I'm looking at what everybody else is doing. I'm like, I feel like we kind of fell off a little bit of what the purpose behind this party is, and we got some work to put in. I know I say this a lot, like we have some work to put in.
We definitely have some work to do.
But how did you feel about the book? Because this was actually your choice.
This was my pick.
Yeah, this is your pick.
So this was my pick because I read the book before. I am rereading it, but I had read the book before I suggested it to Jacky. And one of the things that stood out to me, particularly in part 1, that did kind of jolt my spirit with a bit, was the conversation around, I believe it's xenophobia, where you don't like people from other countries, and just how he experienced that at such a young age, because his family was from a different country. They immigrated to Bermuda, and then just how he was treated, even though he was still a Black person. I felt like that, to me, I didn't really notice it or recognize that it was a thing until I read about it in the book. Like, I had seen it kind of, but I thought that was just the way we banter. Like, I thought that was just the way we as Black people were like bantering with each other. But I did not realize that, no, like, older Black folks just don't like people from Jamaica, people from St. Kitts, people from other islands. And I was just like, wow, to know that he had to deal with that as a young child. And then just thinking about today, like some of the things that young children go through, that is not of their control. Like, you can't control where you're born, and to see how we discriminate against each other for things that are outside of our control bothers me. And it bothered me even more to read his story, because I'm like, after reading the whole book and knowing his full story, well, not his full story, but most of his story, I said, this man went on to do amazing things. So look at you people trying to like throw rocks at him or like talk down to him because his English was broken, or he had whatever issues he had in primary school. And now look at him. He's a national hero. And what are you doing?
Like, he has his doctorate. Like, he learned how to fly a plane in, what was it, like 4 months? Not even 4 months. Like,
it was relatively fast, for sure.
Yeah. And he was standing tall in every country, because I forgot that he actually was standing there protesting and marching in, I want to say, was it Costa Rica?
It was Cuba.
Yes, Cuba. And you guys have to get this book.
And this is just part 1. This is just part 1. We haven't even gotten to, there's 4 parts to the story. I mean, 4 parts to the book, not to the story. There's definitely a lot more to the book. I actually have the other biography of him, me one, and that's way bigger. But that's a lot packed into 1 part. So if you don't have the book already, do make sure you grab that book. Let us know in the comments if you are going to pick up a copy, if you don't have it, and if you're going to read it over the National Heroes holiday. Because if there's one thing that you can do to celebrate our national heroes, it is to read up on their life and legacy, because that's how we continue the conversations. We talked earlier this week about Wantley House, and we saw how amazing the turnout was for people to sign that petition to, stop the the demolition of that building and like, preserve that piece of our history. So the more we have these conversations, the better it is going to be for us in the future to kind of say like, people do want to keep these things alive. Just because you don't see it in your circles doesn't mean that people aren't talking about it. So we definitely want to encourage you to join us in that. Even if you're not a book reader, like we said, it's 4 parts. It's not a really long book. We will try to find books in the future that have an audio component so that if you are not a book reader, you prefer the audio version, that you can at least experience that with us as well. We're going to switch gears a bit in our health and wellness conversation because Jacky and I are ready to show you what the next exercise is for the fitness challenge. But before that, you have to let us know how you have been doing with your fitness challenge participation. So let us know in the comments. You can drop the strength emoji if you've actually done the challenge. If you haven't done the challenge, you can do like a sad face, or you can tell us why you haven't done the challenge. Tell us why you have done the challenge. And Jacky and I are going to tell you about our experience over the last week because one of us had extra credit and the other one didn't. You may be able to guess which one had the extra credit. Let us know in the comments if you know who had to do the extra credit. I'll let Jack go first and share her experience over the last week.
So I had to do, obviously we did the skipping challenge, and I want to say that I did Saturday, Sunday a little bit, but I didn't do yesterday, and I didn't do Tuesday. So I did Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but not the last few days. I started to slack off for sure. I'm like, be obedient, have some discipline. So I'm gonna have to catch up today. Today I'll have to go extra long, but that's fine. It's pretty easy. But I haven't done the push-ups. So
so you're behind on the push-ups.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to catch up on those push-ups, which is it's okay.
It's not fine, but okay, Jack. I think you're gonna say it's not fine. In your mind, it's not fine. It's not fine. We have a question here from Shawnette Bell. She said, what was the challenge? Okay, so let's recap. So week 1, Jacky and I did a push-up challenge. And the way the push-up challenge works, you do as many as you can in one set, and that's it. So you don't have to do multiple sets if you don't want to, if you're just getting back to, physical activity, or maybe you had an injury and, you don't want to overdo yourself. We just recommend just try one set just to get yourself moving. So up to 10 push-ups in one set is a beginner level. Up to 20 is intermediate, or from 11 to 20 is intermediate. And then if you can do 20 or more, you're advanced. You're probably a personal trainer, and we salute you. That's not Jacky and I. We're both we're teetering between beginner and intermediate between the two of us. The second week, the second part of the challenge was the skipping challenge. So if you have a skipping rope, you can do this challenge. If you don't have a skipping rope, get a skipping rope so that you can do this challenge. And it's basically the same concept. Skip for as long as you can before you get tired or you don't feel like skipping anymore, or the rope trips you up. If the rope trips you up, you're done. That's it. If you want to start over and do another set, go for it. And same kind of deal around beginner, intermediate, advanced. So if for your beginner, you'll probably do less than a minute. Under 2 minutes, we consider it to be intermediate. And then over 2 minutes, you're a boxer and you probably should have been in nothing for nothing. And that's that on that. And so today, Jack and I are going to show you what the third part of the fitness challenge is going to be. So I'm going to cue up the video for you right now. And then Jack and I will come back and talk about how we did. And you can let us know in the comments as you watch this video what you think of Jacky and I's performance. There you have it. That is this week's challenge, the plank challenge. So let us know in the comments if you've ever done a plank. And if you have done a plank, what's the longest you've ever been able to hold a plank? We're not talking about in recent times. If you fallen off and maybe you can't do it as long as you once did it, that's fine. Let us know the longest you've been able to hold it. Jack and I are going to talk about this because Jackie and I, when Jackie was talking about her plank, she was like, I could have held it longer, but I stopped. And meanwhile, in my mind, I was like, girl, I struggled to get to the point at which I got in the video. I got up to like 45 seconds. And I was like, all right, I'm out. I'm tapping out. I was trying to do a minute and I couldn't do it. And Jack's over here like, girl, I have to cut it out. I was like, cut it out.
I actually did way better than I expected. Like I expected it to be horrible because I still feel like my collarbone and my shoulder blades still pop sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting there holding. I'm like, and of course I have a friend that was over and he was swimming in the pool, and I was just like, I'm actually doing pretty good. Like this is not as painful. But then I got to about 50 seconds and my arms started to shake, and I'm like, I can still do this, like because my core still felt strong. Mm-hmm. But I was actually impressed. But the longest I've ever done, so when I was in tennis academy, we had to hold that for 3 minutes. And if anybody fouled, it was like the Three Musketeers, all for one and one for all, or like, my sister's keeper. If one of us messed up, we all had to start over. So you kind of just held it, because if not, you lost a friend.
Because everyone's giving you the neatest side eye.
Like, so you're sitting there, everyone's struggling, like, you can do this, don't fall. That's brutal.
That's amazing. So we have some congratulations and some love for us coming in. Shawnette Bell says that we are both better than her, but it's okay. Start where you are, and as you continue to do, because as Jackie just shared, they did it in tennis academy, and that was many moons ago. And so over time, your core gets stronger. And so even though Jack thought that she wouldn't be able to hold it as long as she was able to, all of that conditioning over time just made her come back into it and beast it, because I was definitely like, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna speed this thing up. Luckily, we're not moving. So like when you speed it up, you couldn't really tell if I did 10 seconds or 40 seconds. We have some claps for us coming in from Sean Smith, and he says that the longest plank he's done was 60 seconds with tears coming out of his eyes. Let's talk about that, because when you do some workouts, has there been an activity, maybe not a plank, maybe not a push-up, maybe not skipping, but has there been a physical activity that you've done that's made you feel like so much pain, but it was like good pain? What was that exercise? Because Jackie and I are taking notes. We would like to know what that exercise was, because we would like to add it to the challenge, not to punish you, but to encourage you to start to do some of those activities that are not your favorite, because like Jackie just shared, the longer they did the plank challenge in tennis academy, the easier it got for them. And so it made it easier for them to not fall, because not only do you know what's going to happen, but you know that you're building your strength over time. So let us know in the comments, what's an exercise that's maybe not your favorite, but you do it when you work out. Jack's going to go, or she might not go, but we'll see how this goes. We'll see.
Jack. I'm okay. Hate's a strong word, but I hate burpees. Like, why? Like, who invented them?
So when you do your burpees, and this is for the audience as well, when you do your burpees, if you have done a burpee before, do you do where you jump back with both legs, or do you step back? Because there's a difference. Step back is the modified version. Jump back is like super, it's really pulling in your core. So let us know in the comments, when you do your burpees, what's the way that you do them? Jack, you don't like them. Strong dislike. I get it. But
there's a moderated version?
Yeah, the step back. You didn't know?
My version is you jump, you kick back, you do a push-up, you come back in, you bring your feet in, you jump, and that's one.
Right. But you can step 1 foot, then 1 foot, and then hop up, back down, step back each foot, not 2 feet.
I'm doing the moderated version when we do burpees then.
Oh, so you've been doing 2 feet and wondering that's why you don't like them.
I'm like, these things are horrible, and I'll jump up. All right.
And that was just one. And that was just one, ladies and gentlemen. That was just one, ladies and gentlemen.
My stomach gets in the way. My hip flexors are not loose. So it's like a whole struggle. Like I have to like find myself. And I don't mind wall sits, but it's been a while. So if wall sits are at the end of the workout, I'm sitting there and I'm like, distracting myself, trying to make sure I make it to whatever time it's supposed to be.
So if you're just joining us, and let us know in the comments, what's an exercise that you love to hate to do in the gym, at your home, maybe you're at the field, the park, the beach. Let us know what's an activity that you maybe don't really like to do that much, but you do because you know that it's good for your health. I will share that mine would probably have to be pull-ups. So I've been trying to do pull-ups for, like, I feel that women are not, some women, I won't say all women, some women, myself included, do not have great upper body strength. I got really good leg strength. Like, I can hold squats, I can do lunges, all of that's great. I can run, perfect. But when it comes to doing pulling up my own body weight, like, I'm not even trying to pull extra weight. I'm just trying to pull my body weight. And I can get to like 5 solid assisted pull-ups. Assisted.
I was about to say, because I can't do one. I have the rubber band thing that goes underneath my knees. And then either that or I'll have my my trainer. He'll be underneath me. He'll be like, I'm doing all the work. I'm like, you shouldn't make me do this.
That's the point. So yes. Oh, I see that we have a comment here from Sheldon Jens. He said pull-ups are the bane of his workouts. Okay, so I have someone else that does not like pull-ups. Pull-ups are just not my thing. However, I do know that they help with upper body in a different way from a push-up and other upper body exercise. So I've been trying to do like 10 assisted and slowly remove the resistance so that I'm just pulling my own body weight. But the way Rona was set up and the gyms were closed and all the excuses that come with I can't do this particular workout, I used. So I haven't done a pull-up in like over a year. So that's definitely going to be one that we're going to add to the fitness challenge. And Jacky's burpees will be in there as well. So pull-ups will be in there for sure. And burpees, let us know in the comments if there's any other activity. Actually, let's switch gears. What's an activity you love to do? Like, you could do this activity well over 5 minutes and it wouldn't really bother you, wouldn't faze you. You love to have it in your workout regimen. What is one activity, no matter how many days of the week you work out, you can and you will have it in your workout? Let us know in the comments. Jack's going to go. I don't even know if I have an idea of what Jack would say, because I feel like Jack's such an athletic junkie that it's probably all workouts.
I like to do leg press or leg extensions. I love those. Like, I always have those, I don't mind doing lunges and squats. I don't know. I'm a person that's like, let's do legs. As soon as I walk in, they're like, no, because you have no upper body strength, so we're gonna do your upper body. I'm like, but we did that yesterday and the day before. Like, yeah, well, I'm like, so let's just do a full body because I still have to have my legs done. I always get complimented on my legs. I just want to make sure I keep those compliments coming in.
Keep those legs tight. I get it. Listen, I feel like legs are probably the easiest for me as well. It's like, they're like, I could do that in my sleep. However, I feel like even though the video is not great evidence of this, I actually enjoy planks. Like, I really used to love doing planks because I used to, like, when you get to the point where you're like, okay, you're about to, this is it. Like, you might feel like you're done, and then I get like that second win. Like, oh yeah, I can hang out. I can hang on for like maybe 10 more seconds, 15 more seconds, and then you get to the point of uncontrollable shaking, and you're like, all right, forget it. Planks were definitely one that I really enjoyed doing because for me, it felt like a less resistant type of core workout. Like abs, like, when you do crunches and you got your sit-ups and you're in the bicycle, and you didn't like, you're moving too much. But the plank is like, I can just sit here and still work out my abs. This is the best thing ever.
Yeah, I like suitcases.
Ooh, the Russian
twist. I love this.
Those are good too. We have a comment here from Sean Smith. Jack,
I have to lose some weight before I can do pull-ups again. Me too. I need to weigh at least 60 pounds because I can only do this.
You said you need to weigh 60 pounds?
That's the only way I'll be able to pull myself up, because when I do the machine, that's all I get to. I'll be like, all right, let me put the weight on 60. He'll be like, nope, 75. I'll be like, and 60.
Oh, I just looked at the time, Jack. We're actually running out, but we will come to some comments before we wrap up today's show. Sheldon Jen says that bar curls are his favorite. Sheldon, you're going to have to let us know in the comments what weight are your bar curls. And we have another comment here from Sean Smith. He says burpees, but burpees are the worst as his belly gets in the way. So you and Jack are on the same page. Let us know if you are going to be joining us on this week's fitness challenge on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You can also subscribe on our YouTube channel so that you never miss an episode of Good Day Bermuda. I forgot the name of the show just now. I was going to say Feel Good Show. Before we get into today's Feel Good Vibe of the Day, make sure you head over to the Daily Hour at 8 a.m. Atlantic Time, where Jamel and Michaela will be having a conversation with the town crier of Hamilton, Mr. Ed Christopher. On this day in 1916, Lance Hayward was born. Despite being blind from infancy, Lancelot Hayward became one of Bermuda's most respected and beloved musicians. So happy birthday to Mr. Lance Hayward. We got that information from BermudaBiographies.bm, so make sure you head over there if you want to learn any more information about Bermuda's history. We hope today's Feel Good Vibe of the Day has you ready to make it a great one today. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. We trust we will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Until the next episode, peace and have a good day, Bermuda.